And welcome back to the First and Goal podcast. My name is Lewis. Next to me, as always, my beautiful co-host Laraib, as we are here to break down Week 10 of the NFL season, officially past the halfway point, and into some November football. Tons of exciting games to look forward to. We have four teams on bye this week. It is the Chiefs, the Bengals, I pulled up the wrong thing.
Cowboys and the Titans.
Cowboys and Titans. So all my Tony Pollard fantasy owners, it's going to be a rough week. Anywho, really exciting games. We're filming this on Thursday, right before the Thursday night game. So if you want to hear our thoughts and predictions on that, well, by the time you're hearing this, it's going to be over. But we did predict that game in our last episode. Really interesting episode last Tuesday that we filmed. So please go check that out if you haven't already. Some interesting Welcome to Dairy Lane recap at the end of that episode. So if you're into that, go check it out. But not a lot more to address, Laura. Are you ready to get into this week?
Let's hop right in. Just a quick update on the picks, 5, 3, and 1. I'm slowly starting to claw my way back. Only a 2 game difference. And so, now we're hitting the second half of the season. Every game counts. And starting off with a very important game here. First ever game in Berlin, in Deutschland. The Atlanta Falcons are playing the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are favored by a whole 6.5 points, Lewis. And the Colts, something we didn't talk about on Tuesday, were a huge addition in Sauce Gardner, trading 2 first-round picks and AD Mitchell. And maybe we can talk about some of the trades and the consequences on Tuesday pod. But what that tells me about Indianapolis is, hey, we are all in this season. You don't know how long your Super Bowl window is going to be, if it's even there at all after Daniel Jones' pumpkin watch this past week. But hey, put all the chips in. You never know what's going to happen season to season. This is our shot. We're going in right now. And now you get to face an Atlanta team, Lewis, who they've been really good against the pass. But unfortunately, 7 out of 8 games this year, they've given up 100 rushing yards. And so it looks like it's going to be a lot of Jonathan Taylor on the ground in this one.
Yeah, they looked at what they saw from Drake London last week and looked at Xavier Howard, who's still playing cornerback in the NFL, and said, hell no. Drake London looked super impressive last week in New England. Atlanta finally, got kind of respectable effort last week despite the loss. And with Atlanta, you never know. You could be beating the Bills or you could be getting dominated by some of the dregs of the NFL. So what type of Atlanta are we going to get this week? Going obviously overseas to Deutschland to face the Colts here. And I don't know, just 6.5 just seems like a lot of points to me for Atlanta team. Penix is playing in this one, so you expect the offense to be, steadied. And then didn't get a lot of, production from Bijan last week. But against this Colts defense, there's going to be a lot of opportunity to keep the ball on the ground. What excites me about the potential advantages if you're an Atlanta fan in this game is this defense that's really kind of improved on the pass rush, because that's pretty much been the story of your life as a Falcons fan, is not really finding a consistent pass rush, never really being able to get to the quarterback. And what they do is, D'Amico Ryan's, no, excuse me, Raheem Morris is not afraid to send the house. Number one in the league in blitz percentage, and he just throws defenders at the opposing quarterback. And what did we see last week from Daniel Jones? A lot of pressure in his face and 5 turnovers. That is the key to slowing down this Colts offense, because even with the Colts offense having that many turnovers and that much misfortune, they still almost put up 20 points last week. So this offense is still extremely explosive and extremely efficient. You just have to force Daniel Jones into pressure and into mistakes. So stopping the run and forcing Daniel Jones into mistakes is the key. And you know what? I think they're going to do it. I really do. I just think this Falcons team is weird. This is a spot a lot of people like the Colts to bounce back against the Falcons. Colts have a really tough schedule after this. They have a bye next week and then a lot of really tough teams after that. So a lot of people are like, all right, they're going to win this. They're going to go into the bye and they're going to, get some things figured out. But I think Atlanta shakes them up a little bit. And I'm going with the Falcons with the upset. Parker Romo is one of the worst kickers in the league, but he's going to get it done here, 26-23.
Yeah, I have some very good points there. The big thing for me, Lewis, has been Bijan Robinson And you mentioned his lack of efficiency. I'm want to talk about his decrease in volume. Only 9 carries against the Dolphins. In a game they only scored 10 points. Only 12 carries last week. They can say, "Oh, it was a tight game. We want to run the ball a little bit more." Well, you didn't do that against the Dolphins. Okay, you're losing a lot in the second half. Okay, but in the first half you weren't losing by that much, right? So his lack of volume has been really surprising. Drake London, of course, has a huge game last week, but I'm just coaching is a
But
huge
I
thing
feel
for
like
me.
Bijan's the type of back where, regardless of game script, he needs to be involved. Like, even if you're down, to not use him in the receiving game is just pure negligence. So I don't know if you speculate injury. Do you think it's a coaching decision?
I think that my point was about to bring up. It's all about coaching, right? I don't trust Raheem Morris. I don't trust our offensive coordinator. On the other side, Shane Steichen, who's turned around Daniel Jones, a little pumpkiny last week, but I trust the rushing game. I trust Daniel Jones to hit the throws when he needs to. And I agree with you. This line is too big, but I'm gonna go with the Colts team. I feel like they got a lot of juice on this trade deadline, a lot of optimism in that organization right now, and I think they win a close one overseas, 26-23.
That is an underrated thing about making a trade like this is everyone in that locker room now knows they have the full buy-in. And if this has ever been a bigger "we believe in you" to Daniel Jones, then I haven't seen it so far. But they are going all in on this team. Why not us? Why not the Colts? Daniel Jones, that's why. But they'll find that out sooner or later. Next highlighted game, Laraib, we have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Minnesota to face the Vikings. Baltimore, a 4.5 point favorite on the road. Just still, getting their guys back, climbing out of this early season hole, Laraib. But facing a Vikings team, which defense looked really good last week. JJ McCarthy, first game back. We both thought it was going to be a drubbing for the Lions, but he looked really sharp, moving the ball through the air, on the ground with his legs, just looked really, really sharp. So do you think that's going to translate another week against this Ravens team?
Yeah, this is going to be a huge week for both of these teams, right? You mentioned the Ravens getting guys back, and every week for them is almost a must-win type of game. And then on the other side, JJ McCarthy, can he put together 2 good games in a row? And you know what? I'm saying he cannot do that. I'm leaning Ravens in this one. I think a lot of hype is on the Vikings. A lot of people, this line at 4.5, a little disrespectful for the Ravens, in my opinion. We know what Lamar does against NFC teams. Now, this year he is 0-2. A loss to the
Hmm.
Lions was the big one. But I think he's getting healthy at the right time. Now they're traveling to Minnesota where, they've actually struggled in the past couple of years, but I think the Vikings getting a little bit too much respect with JJ McCarthy. I just don't, I can't, I put too much trust in him after that week 1 game against the Bears where he had that amazing comeback. Now, am I going to fall for the same trap twice in a row? I think not.
Yeah, because it really is. I need to like every game that you mentioned from here on out for the Ravens is win or die, basically, especially with the Steelers pulling off that win against the Colts last week. It feels like the Ravens' only way into the playoff picture is through the AFC North. So they need to keep piling up these wins. Now, this wouldn't be the worst loss in the world against a non conference opponent, but it's still like you need to get these wins where you can get them. And against a rookie and JJ, or basically a rookie and JJ McCarthy, this is a huge opportunity for the Ravens to just keep pulling in that distance to Pittsburgh in the divisional race. So this is a must win for Baltimore. I'm really purely picking this one based on my trust in Lamar and how I saw him last week. The advantage of having the longer rest coming off Thursday night. Vikings huge win against the divisional opponent. Are they a little over their skis? Come back down to earth, kind of like how it was. Huge win against divisional opponent week 1. Come back down to earth hard in week 2 against Atlanta. I'm expecting a similar outcome. So give me the Ravens in this one. I'm going Baltimore 31 to Minnesota 28.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game to see from the Vikings. They are fully healthy once again on the defensive side. When they have Blake Cashman out there with Andrew Van Ginkel, I mean that defense is just a different different level.
Oh,
I mean, they slowed down that Lions offense to a crawl last week, and so if we see those 2 linebackers really contain Lamar Jackson and make this a defensive battle and give JJ McCarthy opportunity after opportunity, this could become a game the Vikings can pull off the upset in. But I'm trusting Lamar. I'm trusting the coaching staff. Really, we saw this Vikings defense turn it around in the second half last year. Can Zachary Orr, fighting for his job at this point, continue to build on the impressive game against the Dolphins? I think the Ravens win this one big, 31-20.
Jesse Minter, please come back. Please. Mike McDonald, please. Anywho, let's move on to a really, really exciting game here, Laraib. We have the New England Patriots traveling to Tampa to face the Bucks. Tampa is a 2.5 point favorite at home. Um, Big news: Bucky Irving is back. Is that what I'm hearing, Laraib?
I will look at the grapevine for you.
Okay. If that is the case, then this is a completely different offense. Tampa coming off a bye at home, hosting this New England team. Both teams only 2 losses on the season. Bucks 6-2, Patriots 7-2. Um, and just a really awesome matchup. This is probably the biggest test so far for New England at this point in the season, because you could say they beat Buffalo, but that was kind of a surprise the world, put yourself on the map. But now you have everybody's full attention. You've won 5 games in a row, and everyone's like, all right, what you got? And here you stand against this Tampa team, a legit team coming off a bye, against a legit quarterback, a legit defense. How are you going to look, right? So are they gonna be all right? Well, we've won all these games in a row. It's a tough game on the road. We're gonna just kind of lay down and die, or are they gonna say, you know what, this is our year. These are the games that we need to win to prove that we are a legitimate threat. Because Rob, after this, not a lot more tests on the table for New England. So if they lose this one, going into the playoffs, everyone's going to be like, yeah, but can they beat good teams? Are they only just beating up these slobber knockers? Like, what's going on? I think that this is a big spot for New England, and I think they might be up for it, Larob.
And I'm gonna disagree. I saw a little fraudulence out of this Patriots team last week. Drake London got whatever he wanted on that weak secondary of the Patriots.
Respect
Credit to
Gonzo.
them. Credit to this Patriots linebacking core that you were so afraid of
Oof,
last week. They really honed in on Bijan Robinson.
they
But I think
did.
the Buccaneers coming off a bye at home, getting some guys healthy now. Bucky Irving did not practice today on
Hmm.
Thursday. He will have a chance to practice tomorrow,
Hey,
and
LeBron.
that will be the huge part if he does play in this game. But you have to respect Rashad White. I mean, he was the bell cow before Bucky Irving came in town. They still have Sean Tucker, the thumper, for those goal line situations. I think this Patriots defense, like you mentioned, they haven't really played anyone too big. I think their britches are a little bit too big on their shoulders this week. I think Baker Mayfield and the Bucks continue to keep on going for that 1 seed in the NFC. I think they find a way to win this game 30-26.
Yeah, the secondary of New England definitely is probably the weakest part. But if they're able to get pressure on Baker Mayfield and just extend drives, I think this is going to be a really good game. It's going to come down to the wire. And ultimately, it's going to come down to the quarterback I trust the
Oh, to
most.
the kickers. And
The,
shout out Chase McLaughlin, who's been banging them from 65 this year, by the way.
the quarterback that I trust the most in these big moments, the guy who's proven it over and over again. I am picking the Buccaneers in this game. Ah, you like that one, huh? I am picking Tampa. I originally wrote down New England, but I crossed it out because this is I haven't seen it from New England yet. And that's the thing is sometimes I'm late on these things, right? You know, this could be the spot where New England shocks the world and they pull off a big win. But I think Tampa's too well established. Tampa has the 1 seed in their sights. I mean, to be fair, so does New England, but they don't know any better. I just think this is more of a mature team with bigger aspirations, bigger goals, and a quarterback who's proven more in bigger spots. So I'm going with Tampa in this one, but I fully expect this game to come down to the wire, and Chase McLaughlin will send it home, Larob. So give me the Bucks. I'm gonna go Tampa 27 to New England 24.
All right, let's move on to the 3 o'clock window. A rematch from earlier this season, a divisional showdown for the ages. We have the Los Angeles Rams traveling to play the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams favored by 4.5 points. And This 49ers team, Lewis, I mean, just injury after injury after injury. They lose Michael Williams, their first round draft pick, in that game against the Giants. And now they come back home after traveling all the way to New York, back home to San Francisco, get to play this Rams team who has been rolling. Lewis, which way do you lean in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean the Rams in this one. Obviously, the 49ers get the first victory on the season, so I'm resting on their laurels, but I really think that this Niners defense it tried to pull off a masquerade that, oh, we still have talent, we still have guys, we're gonna play all these creative schemes, and give a lot of credit to Robert Saleh for, putting these guys in positions where they can succeed. But at the end of the day, these are just some guys. These are not your Fred Warners, Nick Bosa's, even Michael Williams, who are just all out for the year. And I think this against competent offenses who can attack you both with the run and through the air, it's just too tall of a task at this point in the year. And this game being in San Francisco does, or in Santa Clara, does scare me a little bit just because I feel like I've just seen this game. It's always going to come down to the last minute. It's always going to be Shanahan over McVay, and no matter who's playing. But I just think this Niners offense cannot keep up with what the Rams are going to be able to do against their defense. I just think Kyron Williams is probably going to have 400 rushing yards in this game. That's what he told me a few hours ago. Um, I'll believe it when I see it. But I just think that there's way too many ways. And what I really like is how Stafford's been playing this year, just playing out of his mind, really at MVP level. Puka coming back into the fold, looking right. Devontae Adams, 5 touchdowns in his last 3 games, just really, setting the bar that, hey, Stafford's having another guy, another go-to guy. Doesn't matter who's out there, he's going to be successful. And I just think this is a spot for the Rams. Tie up the season series, take/maintain the lead in the division, and then continue forward with this season. So I like the Rams in this one, Laraib.
Yeah, I have to agree. When we think back to that early Thursday night football matchup, this Rams offense, they just came out flat in that first half and they really started to figure things out in the second half, but it was a little too late against this 49ers offense, which got whatever they wanted and in the for the entirety of the game, and then the defense who really started to slow down in the second half. So I think for the Rams, they're gonna, watch some of that game film from early in the season and figure some stuff out. Like you mentioned, Stafford, only 2 picks on the season. He has been hyper efficient. And I think Sean McVay really kicking himself after that loss earlier in the season. I think they figure stuff out. I think the Rams win at 28-20.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the game Nick Bosa went down that Thursday night?
That was the Cardinals game, I believe, the week before.
Okay, okay. So was it no, Warner was a different game. So, hey, I mean, I feel like Shanahan will always find a way to make this a close game, no matter if he's got me and you at the end. He's gonna find a way, but I just think the talent is way too much of a mismatch. I'm gonna go with the Rams in the rematch. Give me Los Angeles 26 to San Francisco 20 in this matchup.
All right, well, let's move on to Sunday Night Football. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers currently leading the AFC North, traveling to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. The Chargers favored by 2.5 points, Lewis. And the big news, they lose Joe Alt for the season, the stud left tackle, but they get some help with trading from the Saints, getting first round pick Trevor Penning coming in and adding some relief for that team. And now they get to face the Steelers team, Lewis, who, when we think about awful defenses, the first name that probably comes to your mind, the Cincinnati Bengals, are giving up 260 passing yards on the season. Well, the Steelers said, "Hey, let me go ahead and give up 278 passing yards per season, per game this season." And that's a huge reason why I'm leaning towards the Chargers in this one. We saw the Steelers, a lot of their veteran guys step up last week. I mean, Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, Cam Hayward, all the unks, you could say, really found their groove in that game. But now I think they're going to be resting on their laurels a little bit too much. This Chargers team, we know they're a completely different offense when Joe Alt is not there, but I really do believe they can get something, some juice out of Trevor Penning, and find a way to win this game.
I don't think so at all. I think Trevor Penning is
Mm.
a bad NFL player. The best traveling team in all of the nation, we know who it is. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of terrible towels flying around in Los Angeles. It's going to be a visiting Chargers team playing the Pittsburgh fans in this game. And you talk about the Unks last week. I was pretty shocked at the defensive performance, notably the pressure they were able to get on the Colts last week, whose pass protection has been one of the best so far all season long. And we know one, it's a big game. Two, no Hall of Fame tackles are playing, so we know Herbert's going to be bad, and no running game to speak of whatsoever. So can Aaron Rodgers do just enough against this Chargers defense, which didn't look too impressive last week against the mighty Cam Ward Titans, allowing them to get a lot of run on the ground. And I thought Jaylen Warren looked pretty impressive last week against this Indianapolis defense. And if they use him a lot more to set up the pass, get more of these guys on the outside involved, Calvin Austin came back last week. That's just another weapon for Aaron Rodgers in this offense. So I just think the Steelers are finding their rhythm. They're coming together as a team. Mike Tomlin knows he needs this one to get to a winning record come the end of the season. And this is a big game. And then Justin Herbert doesn't really win these that much. So give me the Steelers winning a low scoring, cagey, emphasis on cagey type of game. Give me the Steelers steal down 16-13.
And I think Herbert puts on the cape in this game, puts the Unks right to sleep. They are going to be playing on the West Coast time,
Yeah, so it's
traveling
basically a 3
all the
o'clock.
way from the East Coast. That is
Driving.
going to be way different for Team Unk. Shout out Lucas. I think Herbert puts on a huge performance in prime time. This is going to be one of those games where we know why Herbert is top five in the league. Give me the Chargers 27-20.
Well, speaking of a guy who is top 5 in the league, let's move on now to Monday Night Football, Laraib, where we have the Green Bay Packers hosting the top 5 Philadelphia Eagles and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Enough said. Packers 1.5 point favorites at home, coming off an embarrassing loss last week to Carolina. Looking to bounce back from that. Eagles coming off a bye week, getting some much needed rest. AJ Brown looking to return in this game against Philly. Notably, at the trade deadline, Philadelphia picking up Jalen Phillips off Miami for a third round pick. So Howie Roseman continuing to wheel and deal, making big moves. Clearly saw that they had a need at edge rusher. One of the biggest things why they won the Super Bowl last year was the depth they had at the edge position, moving guys around, getting always fresh bodies on the field who could rush the passer and be super effective. And Jalen Phillips is the guy. Now, what will his impact be on this game? I can't imagine it's too crazy, but this is more of a long-term season play, seeing how he fits in, getting more of the guys, a little less tread on their tires. But as it pertains to this game, Laraib, how can this Green Bay offense bounce back from that dastardly performance against the Panthers last week?
Well, they lose Tucker Kraft for the season with a torn
Oof.
ACL, and that is going to be a huge hit for this Packers offense. Obviously, the heartbeat of that team is one Josh Jacobs, and they're going to have to lean on him a lot because, I mean, the up and the roller coaster of Jordan Love this year has just been. I mean, honestly, you're a Packers fan, it's probably just been annoying to watch. And now you get to face this Eagles team who the big name you mentioned was Jalen Phillips. A secondary name was Jair Alexander a week ago. The big one that a lot of people are sleeping on, in my opinion, is Michael Carter, cornerback from the Jets. A week earlier, I think he's going to come in and he's going to have a huge impact at the nickel position for the secondary of the Eagles, which has been really struggling. And I think he's going to be the huge X factor because I think Jaden Reed is not playing in this game.
True.
Christian Watson is a game time decision, and so
Watson.
a lot of these receivers for the Packers are going to be not out, not fully healthy. I think the Eagles, I think they have a good shot of winning this game, especially coming off a bye.
And the biggest thing we saw in the Eagles last game is they finally got Saquon Barkley rolling on the ground. And if there's been any weakness to this Packers defense, it's against the rush. So the biggest, most important thing in this game for the Eagles is establishing the running game, getting it going early, hitting your guys in stride down the field So this is a message to you, Kevin Patullo. Run the ball. That's all I'll say. All I'll say. Nothing more needs to be said. I think the Eagles make a big statement here on the road. Give me Philly in this game, 26-14.
I'm also going to go with the Eagles. I think they win 27-24. The Packers have had their own kicking issues as well. And so I think that is a huge factor that plays in the windy city of Green Bay.
They do not like if you call that the Windy City. They big beef right there. Both cities probably don't
Hey, it's
like
going to be
that.
30 degrees in this game too. Golly.
Golly.
Hey, a lot of running
Holy.
in this one.
It's not like the tundra that the Steelers played in last week, but it'll still be cold. Anyway, Kevin Patullo, looking at you this week. Anyway, that will wrap up for all of our highlighted games of the week. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the rest of the slate, Laraib, starting with the Chicago Bears playing the New York Giants on the road, or actually in Chicago. In Chicago, Bears favored by 4.5 points. Laraib, who do you like in here?
I got to go with Chicago. I mean, this Giants team, Lewis, is falling apart at the seams right now. And then on the other side, the Bears, what did Ben Johnson say? Don't apologize for winning in this league. And that's exactly what they did last week. I think they're going to continue that momentum that they've had all season long. And I really, really do like this Bears team to come out with a victory against this really porous Giants defense, which, hey, Brian Burns has 11 sacks on the year. Hey, Christian McCaffrey, I think, had 150 all-purpose yards last week. Huge Coleman guy game, huge Rome Odunze bounce back game. I think the Bears win 27-20.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I did like what I saw from Dart last week without, his main guys, but I think that the Bears are finally starting to build some positive momentum. A big win here could definitely continue to propel them towards a potential playoff berth. Give me Chicago in this one, 31-13. Next game up, Rob, we have the Buffalo Bills traveling to Miami to face the Dolphins. Buffalo, 9.5 point favorites in this game. Last time they played Thursday night in week 3, I believe. Buffalo won that game. Close game, but Buffalo ended up pulling it out. Now, Dolphins continue to spiral and spiral and spiral like the turds do in a toilet. And Buffalo coming off its biggest win, potential trap game here. What are you thinking, Larob?
I mean, you got to go with the Bills. James Cook will be feasting in this one, that's for sure. And the Dolphins, I mean, they sold Jalen Phillips. So I think you and I are both surprised that Minka Fitzpatrick is still on this team. Bradley Chubb is still on this team. But you can just tell the vibes around the organization. Just get ready for Cancun. Even though, flights might be a little difficult to get on right now. I'm going to go ahead and lean with the Bills 31-17.
And I have the Bills in this one, 34-10. Next game up, talking about a team that has officially mailed it in for the season. The New York Jets hosting the Cleveland Browns. Jets 2.5 point underdogs at home. They shipped off Quentin Williams, shipped off Sauce Gardner, Brees Hall, wondering why the hell he's still on the team. Look out for Isaiah Davis on your fantasy teams this week. If you know, you know. Anyway, I don't love picking Dylan Gabriel on the road against anybody, but man, this has to be the spot for the Browns. I like the Browns in a stinky, garbage, ooey gooey game. Give me the Browns 16-10.
And I'm going to go with the Browns 13-10. Yeah, the Jets just packing it up. So ain't no way I'm picking them for the rest of the year.
Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Next game up, we have another team that may or may not be packing it in. The New Orleans Saints traveling to Carolina to face the Panthers. Saints traded away Rashid Shaheed, Trevor Penning, two key pieces on the offensive side. Now traveling to the 5-4 Panthers, Larav. Any upset brewing?
This is going to be the upset of the week. I'm calling it right now. The New Orleans Saints, everyone is sleeping on this team, but something has flipped in the city of New Orleans. We saw the Pelicans win back-to-back
What
games,
is
and
this
now that
rationale?
energy is going to start feeding off into the Superdome, which is very close to the Smoothie King Center. The Panthers are 5-4 at this point
This
in the
game's in
season.
Carolina.
Are you kidding me? Hell no, this Panthers team, you cannot trust them. Rico Dowdle a little bit banged up on the injury report. He'll be playing in this game, but in a divisional matchup against the Saints. These two teams hate each other, Lewis. You know that more than anyone else. I think Tyler Shuck has his huge arrival game. We saw Derek Queen, aka Dairy Queen, arrive in New Orleans, and I think the Shuck game is here. I think he cements himself as the franchise guy for the Saints. Kellen Moore gets his revenge on the Panthers. Give me the Saints 17-14.
I wish the Knicks would give the Jets or the Giants some love here and there, but I guess they're pretty selfish the way New Orleans teams give each other some love. They all suck at the same time. So I'm gonna give you two words, and those two words are Rico Dowdle. Enough said. Give me the Panthers 31 to Saints 10 in this game.
All right, let's move on to another game in the 12 o'clock window. A very interesting game for how this AFC
Not at
South is
all.
going to turn out. The Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Houston to play the 3-5 Texans. CJ Stroud is out for this game, and the Jaguars are favored by a 1.5 point margin on the road, Lewis. And I'm leaning towards the Texans. This defense is the best unit in football. Um, and I think they're going to do just enough. People are sleeping on Davis Mills. He is he's the best backup quarterback in the NFL. He hasn't had to prove himself that many times, but he is going to come out against this porous Jaguars secondary who last week got shredded by Geno Smith. I think the Texans they do just enough to win this game. I think they win 16-13.
You done talking about Davis Mills?
Yeah.
Give me the Jaguars in this game. I'm going Jaguars. Duval 26 to Texans 10. Davis Mills is a robot, and he will get proven that
You
by
wait and watch, pal.
give me, hey, my money's green, ain't it? Give me the Jaguars.
No, because
Huge
you
statement.
won't pull out FanDuel right now on the show and do it right now.
And bet on Jacksonville.
Any which way you like. Moving on to our next game while you're doing that. The Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray on IR traveling to Seattle to play the Seahawks. ESPN has currently shut down the spread, but on FanDuel, this is 6.5 for the Seahawks. And this Seahawks defense, Lewis, they have come to play. We talk about the Texans as the best defensive unit in the NFL. I think the Seahawks are right there behind them. Adjusted for DVOA, the Seahawks are the number one defense, but this Cardinals team, they were just a different monster. The Cowboys got all they could handle against this Cardinals defensive unit. So, what is going to be a defensive battle, Lewis? Which way are you leaning in this Cardinals Seahawks game?
I'm going with the Seahawks. They're just a much better team. They've been proving that all season long. Cardinals coming off a short week, traveling all the way to Seattle, right? Did I mistake that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
traveling to
traveling all the way to
Seattle from
Seattle. I
Arizona.
mean, Jacob Brissett, this is a little too big for his britches in this spot. This is just a nightmare spot for the Cardinals. Seahawks, I know, coming off a big win, hosting Cardinals. I know you've seen this game way too many times go against Seattle, but I just think this team is different. They're playing with a lot more confidence. They make the big trade for Rashid Shaheed, so we'll see what he can look like in this Cardinals system. Will Johnson can only cover one guy every play. So give me the Seahawks in this one, 26-20. I think it'll be a close game. I'll say that.
Yeah, the Seahawks have both losses this year coming at home. The 12th man, maybe they're starting to get a little bit more invigorated after this hot start to the season. But yeah, I have to agree. I think the Seahawks win this one. I am going to say it's a closer game just because it is the Cardinals in Seattle. But I think the Seahawks find a way to pull through and move on to 7-2, giving the Seahawks 27-24.
All right, Laraib. And then our next game and our final game of the slate, we have the Detroit Lions traveling to Washington to face the Commanders. Obviously, no Jaden Daniels probably for the rest of the season. Just really ugly looking arm injury. And what really should have been an awesome, playoff rematch from last year. Unfortunately, not. And it just seems like Detroit's going to run away with this one. I got the Lions going 33, front running, showboating against the 4 points from the Commanders.
Yep, I have to
Seven,
agree. I
seven.
mean,
Sorry.
The Lions coming off a loss. Now game is going to be outdoors. Is Jared Goof going to make an appearance? But this Commander season, it is wrapped up and done. Go ahead and start booking those flights as well. I think the Lions win this one 34-17.
All right, Laraib. Well, that's going to do it for our full Week 10 slate. Now let's go straight into our locks, upsets, and best bets of the week. Laraib, who is your lock of the week?
My lock of the week is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. I know a very risky take here. These two teams always play it very close, but I think Sean McVay, he finds a way to get it done.
And my lock of the week is those Seattle Seahawks. Really
Nope.
favorable spot. What?
No, go ahead.
Really favorable spot against the Cardinals at home. I just think this team is elevated into a true NFC contender, and they're going to start playing with that confidence. A game they should absolutely win. If they don't, yikes. And then, Larob, my upset of the week is Atlanta in Deutschland against those Indianapolis Colts. Colts faced a little bit of adversity last week and shuddered. All the Falcons know is adversity. They live in the mud. They don't step in it. They jive in it. They are the mud. And the Colts are going to fall into it. Give me the Falcons. Give me the Falcons.
And for my upset, I'm going with your New Orleans Saints. That city, they are
I
getting
needed this
ready
week.
for a turnaround. Kellen Moore, his fingerprints are finally starting to set in, and they get the cancer that is Trevor Penning out of that locker room. I think they are going to flip the season on its head. And the Panthers, maybe riding a little bit too high, maybe a pumpkin game out of Bryce Young. I think the Saints pull off the upset in Carolina.
All right. And what is your best bet of the week, Larob?
My best bet is going to be those front running, showboating Detroit Lions going to Washington to play a lowly Commanders team without their leader in Frankie Louvu, who got suspended for doing hip drop tackles 3 games in a row. It's going to be a lot of Bobby Wagner trying to fill that hole and Mike Sandstrill. Let's go the Lions to cover the 8.5 point spread.
Just saying, very smart man did that last week. Didn't go too well for him. Give me the under in the Pittsburgh Chargers game, under
Oh, hell
44 and a
no. Oh,
half.
hell no.
Oh, under 44 and a half. Absolutely. I think Aaron Rodgers just gets enough done to where he can barely inch over this Chargers team with no offensive lineman. Justin Herbert is as good as me, for Christ's sake. So, hey, I mean, if before the shoulder, I was pretty nice. I'm just gonna say that. Anyway, I'm gonna go with that as my best bet of the week, Larob, and that's gonna do it for our full week 10 picks, predictions, locks, upsets, best bets of the week. If you'll have any thoughts, comments, concerns, One Piece fan theories, put them in the YouTube comments down below. Larob, you got anything else for us before we get out of here today?
No, I think that's the First and Goal podcast signing off.
Peace.